Excuse me. All right, fellas, ladies, we should be live now. We are talking Saturday night baseball for the 28th of August. And we are going to go through this members only style for everybody today. And I think one of the important things of note right now is that the Milwaukee, Minnesota game, which early in the morning was slated to be chalk, is like legit possibility for a postponement. So as you look through this slate, everyone, this is of huge importance because if you looked at like early day projections for ownership, like Brewers and Twins both had a lot of love. But if this game doesn't play, that changes everything.
Yeah, it changes a lot for sure. So definitely something to keep your eye on, if nothing else.
Yeah, for sure. Now, as far as pitching goes today, it looks like the early day build for chalk is Lance Lynn and Marcus Stroman, which I get, but you know, call me a victim of going back to where it's helped me. I've used Adam Wainwright in back-to-back starts against Pittsburgh, and he has been awesome for me. So I'm looking at him really, really closely.
Instead of Lynn, instead of Stroman?
Possibly instead of Lynn. I'm a big Lance Lynn fan, and he's been, very good in real life, but I'm not afraid of all of fading him. The strikeouts have not been totaling up quite as quickly over the last, couple of months.
For me, it's not about like afraid to fade him. I just think he's far the best spot. And it's like, I don't really love any of the other guys. I like Wainwright. He's between Wainwright, Stroman, Valdez. I think all three of those guys are real similar, to be honest.
I like Valdez a lot too.
Yeah. He's just expensive. I do think Lynn is the chalk for good reason. Like, he hasn't been amazing lately, but this matchup is so good. And I do think he's still the best DFS pitcher on the slate.
Probably is. I think Valdez outscores him tonight. So I think I'm going to go Valdez and Wainwright as long as I can afford it. All the pricing right here doesn't really make a big difference between Stroman and Valdez. They're all within 1,300. All four of the guys will get some love, but it looks like the overwhelming chalk build is Stroman Lynn. So I'm going to try to get a few extra points by going Valdez Wainwright. And if it works out, awesome. If it doesn't, hey, there's a new slate tomorrow.
We feel similarly, except for the guy that I'm crossing off is Stroman. So
okay.
I'll probably go between Valdez, Lynn, and Wainwright.
Okay. So, again, we're not far off. The problem is like once you drop down, there isn't anybody that I have like legit any real interest in.
No, there's really not. And that is a definite problem for sure.
The guy that I'm actually looking at in the lower tier markup is Steven Brault. But then it's like, there's that part of me is like, do you want to go 1,400 less and not just use
right?
instead of Steven Brault?
Like, he's not even cheap is the problem.
Right? So I feel like I'm definitely using upper tier pitchers for my build tonight.
I agree with that, which is, and it's going to make some of the more expensive offenses lower owned.
It is. So let's go with the Wainwright Lynn build to show that we got 3,900 per offensive guy. And just note that, if you switch it around to Valdez, Stroman, or Valdez, Wainwright, it's not changing much.
No.
All right. As far as offenses goes, we got game one, which is Wainwright against Brault. I have no interest in Pittsburgh for two reasons. One, Wainwright has looked like the best pitcher of all time, against them the last two starts. Also, they're just terrible, so I never have interest in them.
I agree. I'm not interested in Pittsburgh at all, and only mild interest in St. Louis.
My interest from St. Louis simply comes from the fact that they're affordable, and if we're rolling with 3,900 per offensive guy, you can sign me up for, Arenado against the lefty, Edman at the top of the lineup, or cheap Sosa.
Edman's probably one of my favorite one-offs on the slate. He crushes lefties. He's hot right now. I like Edman a lot. He's leading off. So Edman's a guy that is on my short list for sure.
And then for Sosa, he's 2,200. That's cheap. That's real cheap in a spot where I can, he's been playing well the last couple of days. It's a cap space play, nothing more.
For sure.
Okay. All right, I'm with you. Edman, Sosa. And then again, like if you want to roll with a Tyler O'Neill or Carlson, I get it, but they're not priorities or anything.
No, I am more on the Cardinal side than Brault, though.
Agreed. I brought up Steven Brault, but I'm also much more likely to end up with Cardinals bats than Steven Brault in my lineup.
For sure.
All right, Michael Wacha versus John Means. Means has had a real, kind of split to his season. Wacha was looking really good for a little bit, but has been absolutely pummeled throughout the month of August. So, any interest in Baltimore?
Passing interest in Baltimore. I mean, Waka is not a guy I'm ever afraid to pick on. There's just other spots I like more is the problem.
Okay. I thought you might be a little bit more interested in Baltimore just because you don't like Wacha when he's pitching well. So when he's in a slump like this, I assumed like that wasn't going to change a ton for you. They got some cheap guys on Baltimore. They're hard to get excited about, right?
Yeah, I mean, as one-offs like Santander, Mullins is good, but I mean, give me the Tampa side of this game for sure. Baltimore's obviously going to be much lower owned, but for good reason.
I know you're not a huge poker player, but have you ever played the game Raz?
No.
Okay, so it's a poker game which is situated around having the worst hand possible. And I only say that because this week I have been absolutely nutting like stacks as far as picking the highest scoring teams, but also going with the Raz hand. So like if there's a team that goes for 12 runs, I probably stacked them, but have somehow managed to only get 3 points out of 3 hitters.
That's
So
exactly why I always like try to get exposure to every hitter in the offense.
like you would legitimately have to cross your fingers, pray, hope, and enter multiple lineups to do as successfully poorly as I have done over the last 5 days. Is picking all of the worst hitters out of every lineup that I've stacked. And I'm usually only playing one or two lineups. So like, again, they can happen, but it's been almost comically funny.
That is, sometimes if you play DFS long enough, you'll see it all. And that's something that happens occasionally. I'll say this about Baltimore.
Right.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I just go ahead. You're up.
I was just going to say, as far as Baltimore goes, like, I'm interested to see what happens to ownership if the Brewers game gets postponed. But as of now, like, looks like Tampa's coming in under owned. Like, Tampa's just so much better than Baltimore if they're going to be lower owned. Now, the thing is, in order to stack, like the offenses as of right now that stand out to me are Tampa, the Astros, and the Dodgers. Those teams are all expensive. So, like, maybe I will have to make a concession at pitching. But, it's something that you kind of just have to do sometimes.
And the same side that goes with that. If Tampa is, if the Brewers and Twins, well, I guess it doesn't even really matter if they play, but if Tampa or Baltimore is really, really underowned, I'm going to be a little bit interested because Walker's been really, really struggling and they are affordable. So you can actually stack Baltimore.
I think they will be low.
The pitchers. Okay. Well, that's something that I'm going to keep in the back of my mind throughout the day. Other than Mullins, these guys are really, really, really cheap. And even though, like, I was all over Santander, and that's why I brought that up the day that he went 0 for 5, he's been playing well. He's got good power. He's a switch hitter. He's very, very affordable. And they got other guys in their lineup that they're okay for DFS.
I don't hate it. I mean, I see it, especially like you mentioned, they're cheap.
Yeah, Urias is a guy who's been playing very, very well over the past week. He's only 3K available at some of the weaker positions, for example.
Mm-hmm.
All right, moving over to Texas, Houston. I don't have any interest in Texas. You?
No.
Okay, so we talked about the Houston Bats against Allard. Allard is not awful by Texas standards, but he's not a good pitcher or anything like that. So Houston's in a good spot here. I think this is one too. Like, I want to see where ownership plays out throughout the afternoon. Like, if Texas or Houston becomes the big chalk, I'm not that excited about them.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it. Last night they were real low owned, and it looks like they're coming in really low owned today, and I like them a lot. Probably my favorite offense on the board. All of them: Alvarez, Bregman, Brantley, Tucker, Altuve. If I had to pick one offense that was my favorite on the board, it's Houston.
Okay. You think because of their prices they get overlooked today?
Yes, I do. And
okay.
so
they're very pricey.
It is. It's hard. Myers helps at 2,700. Diaz potentially, but yeah, they are very expensive. So this is a team I like a lot. They're just awesome.
Allard's given up a lot of power lately. We know that power wins, GPPs.
Texas has an awful bullpen. Like, Allard's not awful at all. He's average. He's an average pitcher right now.
Very average.
Houston is really good, especially against lefties like this on the road. Yeah, I like them quite a bit here. Now their lineup's so much better too with Bregman back in there.
Yeah, I wonder what happens to their ownership if the Milwaukee Minnesota game looks like a
Well,
no-go, but they're still so expensive that it's going
yeah,
to be difficult for them to be chalk.
like they're not pivots off that game. Like how it's going to be hard for their stack to be like real popular.
All right, moving over to the Mets against Washington, Stroman against Nolan. So this is one of those classic conundrums that I was definitely looking at the Mets for a while this morning because Sean Nolan is going to be one of the weaker pitchers on the slate. He's definitely somebody you feel good about stacking against. However, the Mets don't have a lot to be excited about. Pete Alonso, 4,900. All right. Baez, okay, I can get on board, but the rest of their lineup is just so lackluster that it's hard to get really, really thrilled to stack them, but they are in a good spot.
They're in a good spot. It's hard to get excited about stacking them because even the guys you just mentioned, like, aren't having great years. Like, they're pricey, but they're in a good spot. And like, I could definitely see stacking them, but they're also like kind of hard to. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what their lineup looks like. But give me
They just
Houston over
suck.
the Mets. Yeah, give me Houston over the Mets. Give
I
me the
mean,
cheap Baltimore pieces.
right? Like your boy Lindor,
Sucks.
he just what a terrible season, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's just pathetic. I like Javier Baez, but he kind of seems like it's either home run or nothing with him, right? So he's got his days. He doesn't run like he did when he was a younger guy. Pete Alonso's good. He's not great. I think they're as good a spot as anybody on paper today, but man, they're just lackluster and just really difficult to get excited about.
Yes. I agree with all that.
All right, Cubs against the White Sox. I think the White Sox are another team that makes some sense. And I think if Minnesota Milwaukee gets rained out, I would expect that the White Sox would get a little bit more love.
Yeah, agreed. I think they're going to be chalky no matter what. But if that happens, for sure, you're going to have cheap pieces in here like Garcia, Roberts sitting second at 3,900. He's got to be one of the highest owned hitters on the slate. He's just really good. Anderson's hot. Abreu's hot. I mean, all these guys had a monster night last night. Grandal's back. All of a sudden, their lineup's like one of the best in the majors.
Yeah, Grandal with a monster night last night. They scored 17 runs and what has to be one of the higher scoring games of the season with 30 combined runs between the two of them.
Yes.
Cesar Hernandez is only 3,300. If the Minnesota Milwaukee game does get rained out, I think this is the chalkiest offense on the board.
I agree. You can make a case right now. Their lineup is like, I mean, Toronto has fallen off. Like their lineup is better than Toronto's right now. They have a top 5 lineup in baseball easily at this moment.
Now, if they're the big chalk, I'll say the same thing about Alec Mills that we talked about, like with Allard. Only the bullpens might be a little different, but Mills he's average. There's definitely days that he can get absolutely crushed like he did the other day, and then he has starts where he's all right. So if they're the chalk, then I'm definitely okay fading them in tournaments and hoping they just score 3-4 runs.
Yeah. This is like if you told me that they were coming in really low owned and Houston was chalk, give me the White Sox.
Hell
it
yeah.
looks like it's the opposite. So give me the Astros.
Yeah, for sure. That makes a lot of sense. And again, even though I'm talking about fading Lance Lynn, just based on the fact that he has really just kind of come down to I don't know, he's very consistent, but we haven't seen a lot of upside out of him over the past couple of months. I still have zero interest in playing guys against him. He's been a much better real life pitcher than he has been DFS pitcher. That's the only reason I'm talking about this.
Yeah, I'm not looking to use anyone against him.
None. Ian Happ if you want to one-off something, right?
Yeah, I mean, listen, he's going to be crazy high owned. So in the case that he's not good, I mean, I don't mind using a bat or two, but not something I'm excited about. I'll say that.
All right, so I don't want to spend a ton of time on this game, specifically because there's a good chance that we don't see it. But if this game plays out, you're going to see the Brewers is very, very popular. They are going up against not Corbin Burns, but Charlie Barnes, who is not good. Brewers took the L last night, got shut out. You got a motivated team today, good team coming off 2 losses. They'll be really, really chalky. I like the Brewers tonight, but if they're huge chalk, then I'm definitely not looking to be like all exposed to them in tournaments.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, it's just exactly what you said. It's no more, no less than that. I mean, it's not that they're not in a good spot. Clearly they are, but if they're going to be chalky like that, give me Houston.
The other guy is, from the flip side of this, is Adrian Houser's pretty good, but Byron Buxton
Yeah.
hitting in the 2-hole at 2,800 is going to be beyond chalk. And there's two ways to look at this. One, based on the fact that I would, in my mind, he'll be 50% owned at this price with his upside. Like, you can definitely fade him just based on the fact that he's not incapable. He's been out for 2 months, right? Like, he's not incapable of striking out a bunch of times and not getting you any points. And if you can pick somebody else that does, you're in a good spot. Or if you want to look at it like he's one of the highest upside plays in DFS in a good spot against a slightly above average pitcher at this price, and you just want to take the free square, I get that too.
Yeah, I get both sides as well. I mean, I got no arguments with any of that.
I mean, this guy is legit one of the
He
best.
was having a
DFS
monster
players.
year before he got hurt. Like, he's way too cheap. There's no reason for A to make these guys so cheap just because they get hurt. Like, I don't get it. You know what I mean?
You feel like there would be some human correction into the algorithm on something like this, right?
Why? I know he was hurt, but like, why is he 4,800 and now he's 2,900? Like, that just doesn't make any sense.
Why is Jorge Polanco still sub 4K? I know the price has finally gone up to the upper threes, but this guy has been on fire for 2 months, and he's a good baseball player.
Yeah, it looks like Minnesota's getting quite a bit of love also.
Yep, they're very, very affordable.
I hope this game plays.
Yeah, that changes the slate a lot. Adrian Houser is having a very solid season too, and Milwaukee's bullpen is good. They haven't taxed their better relievers the last couple of nights, so I get Byron Buxton, but I'm not looking to hop on Minnesota here just for prices.
Yeah, I'm not either. I mean, I'm definitely not. Give me even Milwaukee over Minnesota, even if I had to pick one.
Yeah, Adrian Houser's a decent pitcher, and that bullpen's got its best pieces available tonight because they've lost 2 in a row. So you're getting Hader, Devin Williams, who after a rough start of the season has been electric, if this game is like kind of competitive like that.
Yeah, for sure. So I have no interest in the Twins at high ownership. And honestly, I'll fade the Brewers too.
Yep, I get that. All right, next up, Logan Webb versus Inoa. This is your classic, what was the word we used to use? Manny special. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I respect both of these pitchers. I'm not trying to pick on Logan Webb with Atlanta. I don't even like San Fran when they're in a good spot because of all the pinch hitting and the fact that they're, kind of spread out. So this is just a spot I'm not looking to go.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
I agree. I think you could make GPP you could make a case for any side of this game in tournaments. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to probably use anything in a 3-entry max. So that's all it is.
I got one for you. I was looking at this game for a while, San Diego against the Angels, and San Diego is just very difficult to get excited about right now. They are scuffling beyond belief. They could change it around at any point, but I don't personally have any reasons to believe that's tonight. However, what about the Angels at lower ownership? Ryan Weathers had a nice start to the season, but lately has been getting absolutely killed. And the Angels don't look like they're getting a ton of love tonight.
Yeah, I could definitely get on board with that. It's not one of my favorite stacks, but give me the Angels over chalky Twins.
Right? I mean, I know a lot of these guys are no names, but they do get Upton back.
Yeah, and Adele, these guys strike out a lot, but Weathers has not been good. So Brandon Marsh,
terrible,
and Brandon Marsh has been really good. You get Ohtani in there. Like you said, they're going to be very low owned.
Yeah, so I'm kind of thinking about the Angels right now as a team.
Who do you like? The Angels or the Orioles?
Angels.
The Orioles are cheaper, which helps.
Yeah, but other than Ohtani, this team is super affordable too.
True. I mean, it's not like they're expensive.
You take Ohtani out of this lineup, there's nobody other than Walsh even close to the 4K range.
Walsh might not even be in there, but you definitely want Ohtani in there, I think.
Yeah, he's just one of the top DFS players in the world. So, yeah, absolutely. San Diego, I was really trying to make a case for him this morning just because I like the spot for him and everything like that. But I don't know, man. You watch baseball a little bit more than I do. Have they given you any reason to start buying into him right now? They just look like dead man walking.
Yeah, kind of reminds me of Toronto, who's coming in as uber chalk on the early slate. I definitely see why, they're not in a bad spot. I like them more than one-offs. I'm not going to full stack them here. Like Tatis is a good play, but Wednesday not a good play.
Yeah, he's amazing, right? So I get it. He's been not quite himself lately, but he's the kind of guy like it doesn't even matter to me. He's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
All right, then Colorado against the Dodgers. We got David Price up against John Gray today. I can make a case for the Dodgers just based on how awesome they are, but I respect John Gray, so I was more Houston than LA tonight.
Yeah, I'm more Houston than LA also, but LA will also be very long, and their lineup's so good. If they get to Gray, which isn't inconceivable at all.
At all.
Like Gray's better than Fulte, but like they're of the same ilk in my mind. And I remember Fulte went into LA and got absolutely demolished. They do that to guys because they're that good.
Yep. I'll stick to what I originally said. I looked at both of these guys really close this morning, both the Dodgers and the Astros, but I would go with Houston over LA. So they're similarly priced.
I would too, but they have crushed John Gray. I don't know if you looked at that.
Yeah.
And then I'll say this, one guy from the Rockies, CJ Cron, having a monster year, 10 of 30 with a bunch of extra base hits off Price. We'll get no love at 5,500. I think he's an elite one-off if you can get there.
He's going to be like 1% or less today.
He's having a big year. All of a sudden, he was started off slow and has been awesome the past couple months.
He's got good power.
He had 23 bombs. Not amazing, but he hits in such,
All right. So just a quick recap for the day, and we'll let you guys get on with it. It looks like I'm Wainwright, Valdez, and then you're a combination of Wainwright, Lynn, and Valdez. So we're very similar on pitching. Puts us in a very difficult spot as far as money goes. Yeah. You might make some changes, but Houston is kind of your guy or your team.
Yes. I am the pitching, there's just, man, it doesn't put us in a great spot, as you said.
I'm going to stick with the good pitchers on this one because I don't like anybody cheap enough to go with it, even though obviously getting to Houston makes a lot of sense. White Sox could be chalk. The outcome of the Milwaukee-Minnesota weather is going to be a big factor in this one. And if this game plays or looks like it's going to play, Milwaukee's going to get a ton of love. And I like the spot for Milwaukee, but I'm not enough to ride them at overwhelming chalk in tournaments.
Yeah, same. So, man, let me ask you this. If you had to pick one cheap pitcher that we didn't talk about, who would it be?
John Means.
Okay. I get that. I think mine would be Suarez.
Let's just know where we're at right now, guys. The fact that I'm looking at Means against a really good Tampa Bay team, and you're looking at Suarez, who, wow, he ain't great. So the cheap pitching options today they're not fantastic.
No, they're not. But it's could Suarez potentially give me 15 here?
Sure. Yeah. San Diego's been scuffling for a while.
Yeah, I don't love the San Diego offense. They're also going to be kind of popular, and I get Means. He's better than Suarez, I think, but Suarez is also much cheaper, which helps.
Yeah, for me with Means, spending the extra $1,000 right there for a guy that was dropping 30 bombs on the regular to start the season against a high strikeout Tampa Bay team. It's there's a 30-point upside there. I don't like it though, and I'm not going to do it. I'm just, you asked me a question, I'm giving you my best answer, but I will not actually do that, just so everybody knows.
Yeah, I get it for sure.
He has not looked the same post-injury either, so that's where I don't even have the balls to make that play.
No, he is not. It's that's why if it were the older Means, then maybe, but there's a reason he's so cheap.
Yeah, in the beginning of the year, this guy was striking out 10s on the regular. He looked like we were asking ourselves, is this guy a future ace? Is he an ace right now? The answer to that right now is no. No, he's not. He's still probably Baltimore's best pitcher, but that says nothing.
Yeah, it says absolutely nothing. He's definitely not an ace.
No, not right now. So, all right, guys, that's what we got for today.
Thanks, guys.